Hi and welcome back to the channel. We've got another box, and this is another headless guitar up for review. This box came in pretty good condition. Not really seeing anything really bad on the box, and it doesn't look like it's been opened. It only has one layer of tape. Oh, if it wasn't damaged, it is now. Okay, let's cut the tape here and see how well it's packaged. Well, that's good to see. There's a box inside of a box. The last guitar was not packaged very well. Set that over there. And this box is not taped. And that looks like a pretty nice gig bag. Shoulder, so you put it on your back like a backpack. Alright. Zipper. The zipper on this bag feels better too than the last one. It's smooth. It's also got like a little compartment here. Inside the compartment we have some tools and the cheap Radio Shack cord, as usual. Yeah, but the zippers feel nice. Let's roll it up. And here's our guitar. Set that over here. And it's typical, got a rubber band on the top. And we need to take it out of the bag. That's a pretty green. Kind of strange here on the end. It's big and thick. And it's definitely shipped several steps down. So we're going to move our bench over here. I'm going to set the guitar on the bench, and I'm going to move the camera so we can get a better view of it. Okay, I have the guitar plugged into the tuner. We're going to give it a quick tuning before we go over fit and finish. I am seeing a lot of residue on the neck. Okay, we have the guitar tuned up. So let's check our intonation and our first fretted note. Let's start with our low E string. Give it just a quick turn there. There we go. Check our 12th. We can see that it's really high. Let's check our first fretted note. Again, pretty high. Check our A. First fretted note. Again, quite high. First fretted note. Again, quite high. Here's our D on the 12th. Again, quite high. First fretted note. And again, it's high. There's our G. G on the 12th. And it's high as well. G, first fretted note. And it's high. Check our B. B on the 12th. It's high. B string, first fretted note. It's high. And our high E string. That's the only one that's semi-close. Let's check our first fretted note. Yeah, only the high E string is remotely close. First fretted note. So this guitar really hasn't had a setup on it whatsoever. So we're going to move our camera and we're going to check neck relief and string action height. Okay, I have my tool here. We're going to set it on the neck and check the relief. And this guitar does have relief. And I'm going to say it has about 1.5, maybe 1.25 millimeters of relief. So it's got quite a bit of relief in the neck. Now we're going to take our Stumac gauge and we're going to check our string on the 12th. And it is very high. On the 12th fret it's 0.120 on the low E. And the high E is also set to 1.20. So the action height is quite high on this guitar. It's going to need a setup. Now let's look at the overall fit and finish of the guitar. Let's look at the routes, the paint, the fit and finish, the hardware. We'll start off with the body. And we're just looking for peculiar things that were missed from the factory. Not seeing anything on the body. The finish looks good, has a nice sheen to it. It is a little dusty, but it has a nice sheen. I don't see any dents. I'm not seeing, like, I see there's a seam in the wood right here, but in the finish it's completely smooth. There's not a crack in the finish or a dip in the finish where the wood is contracted and expanded at different rates. So that looks nice. Let's look at our routes. And these routes have no relief. It's a sharp 90-degree turn in the machining. And they look good except for this one corner right here. I don't know if you can see that. And it's just a little spot. It looks like what happens when the tool misses a step and then pulls up. And it was just off just ever so slightly when the tool went up to traverse to the next command. The gap here in the neck to the body on the back looks consistent. There is a gap on the back side of the neck to the body. There is no gap on the sides. And this ear here looks nice. It's nice 90 degrees to the body. It's very close. It's probably about maybe 87 degrees, 88 degrees. It's pretty close. The neck pocket itself looks good. I don't see any signs of it being shimmed or a large shim to tilt the neck. The gap here, the gap across here is the same. So that means the machining in the body was done correctly. The neck has a nice satin smooth feel to it. It's not a gloss. It does have a satin finish. And it's smooth. Now up here on the headstock, that's a pretty sharp right there. That would have been nice if they relieved those edges. That's a pretty sharp corner. The fingerboard to the neck feels good. I don't feel a seam there. And again, all this is very sharp. No relief. The fret feel. There's some sharp frets. I would say the ends of these frets have not been dressed. Is it the worst guitar that we've had on the channel? No. But the ends of the frets definitely need to be dressed. They were hit with the chamfering tool, and that's it. They did not round over that chamfer to the fret. The fret feel It's scratchy. It's got a scratchy feel to it. So there's been very little work done to the frets. The fingerboard looks extremely dry. That really needs some Dunlop neck conditioner. It's very, very, very dry. It would probably take 2 or 3 coats. It's very dry. The upper hardware up here looks nice. And this is the one that the little strings stick out of the nose and you have to trim off. So the ball ends are on this side. So you put the ball end in, feed it through, tighten it, trim it. That piece of hardware does look nice. Let's look at our bridge. It's unique. It looks like each one of these has 2 Allen screws to adjust your height. And then there's a screw here for your intonation. And it doesn't look like there's that much room to change the action height. I could be wrong, but that may end up being a potential problem, getting the action height down on this guitar. Unless I'm just not seeing it correctly, and this goes further down into that bridge than it visually looks. It doesn't look like there's that much space to move that down on the high E. The back plate hardware looks nice, and it has the typical strap buttons. The cover plate does not fit too well. I don't know if you just heard that snap. That was me snapping it between the body and the route. It's flush here, and then starting right here it goes way high, 2 millimeters, and then flush. And the route here is very tight. A little bit of a gap here, and a little bit of a gap in this radius here. Let's look at our switches. And it is a 3-way switch. And this switch has a lot of jiggle to it. But it does have a positive engagement. But it is very jiggly. All right, let's check out the feel of our knobs. The pots feel smooth. There is a nice knurling on the knobs that was done on the machine. That's a nice knurling. I mean, you can feel it on your fingers. It's not going to slip. And the pots feel good. They're nice and smooth. They're not overly tight. I'd say that's a mid-grade as far as stiffness. But I'm not seeing any scratches or anything that looks subject. The pickups also are sitting square and true in the body. I've gotten some guitars and the pickups are literally sitting in an angle in the body. So that looks pretty decent. And like the other headless guitar we just reviewed, this jack did the exact same thing. It's almost like a pressure fitting. When the plug went in, you really got to push it in, but there's no click to engage it. So I'm going to assume that this is another barrel jack, just like the last headless that we reviewed. But we're going to flip the guitar over now, and I'm going to move the camera, and we're going to see what's inside as far as the electronics. Okay, I have the guitar flipped over. We're going to check out the electronics here. There's our electronics cavity, and yep, barrel jack, just like the last guitar. Something I'm seeing right there is the nut is against the wood on that side, and then on this side there's a gap. See, there's a gap right there. So that means this is not drilled perpendicular to how they have this machined in here. There's a little bit of compound in here. The solder joints, though, in this guitar look much better than the last one. Yep. When you see these nice puddles like that that have a sheen, that means that they had the iron hot enough to get a good bond, and it leaves a nice sheen on the solder. And I'm seeing that on, look at that one. Yep, that one's good as well. Yeah, these all look good as far as the soldering. And that is a cheap switch. But the solder work looks nice. And these are the micro pots. And it just has a CF on that pot for the branding. And let's look at these wires and see. I'm only seeing one wire, the start and end. So again, this guitar, if you wanted to do coil taps, you would have to run a new wire to the pickup and do some rewiring at the pickup side. But much better than the last one. Get them started. And then after you have them all started, then go back and tighten them. Alright, we're going to flip the guitar back over. That's going to finish it up as far as the review on the electronics and the fit and finish. Now it's time to plug this into the amplifier. Well, if you can't tell, we are downstairs in my shop. The guitar didn't make it to the amplifier to get plugged in to do a sound test. I I had plugged the guitar in, I played a couple notes, and I thought, well, let's try to adjust the action height down a little bit because it was extremely high. And in that process of trying to adjust these saddles, I quickly realized they're down as far as they'll go. They'll come up even more, but from the factory, these saddles are set at the lowest possible position that they can go in. So that led me to believe that it just needed to come down here. Let's take the guitar apart. Let's see what's going on. And when I did that, I found this neck pocket. Now I'm going to move the camera in closer and we're going to take a closer view of this neck pocket and we'll see what's going on. Okay, here's a close-up view of the neck pocket, and you can see there is just a tremendous amount of finish inside this pocket. It seems to be a little less finish back in here and through here, but this seems to be the line, like that. It's almost like the finish puddled up right here. And you can see they've went back and they've tried to sand some of this. There must have been a really high spot right here. It's almost like this hole was drilled in the guitar and it was put on a rod. When they sprayed the finish, this side was up and the finish ran down and it puddled on top of that rod. And there's just a ton of extra finish through here. There's also a real, it's almost like sandpaper. There's like a grit. That's causing our problem. Okay, I've moved the camera back out. So let's look at what we need to do. I think if we take this guitar and we look here, your first inclination would be to put a shim in the neck and shim this side of the neck up. The bad news is it already had a shim here. So shimming is not really going to help us. We need more than that. And I think the only way we can do that is to remachine this pocket to the right angle and the right depth to get this neck to sit in the guitar properly. I think it's going to be our project. Let's take this $149 guitar and let's fix it. What's funny is on Amazon, this guitar unfinished in kit form is $179. So if you're thinking about buying the kit, don't. Just buy this one. It's already painted, and fix the pocket. You're going to have to fix the pocket in the kit anyway. At least this way, you're getting a pre-finished body. For the first time in the channel, I'm going to say, do not buy this instrument if you plan on buying something, pulling it out of the box, and having an instrument to play. That's not this guitar. This guitar is going to require a massive repair to get playable. And it's not a repair. I'm going to qualify what I say. There's a lot of talented people out there. I'm going to say 75% of the people are not going to want to take on this project simply because of remachining this pocket. If you feel comfortable with a router and you can put a fixture on this guitar and you can pitch it 0.5 degrees, maybe 0.75 degrees, and use the router in here and get this pocket right, and you feel comfortable doing it, then sure, buy the guitar for $149 and know that you're going to have to do some neck pocket work. For everyone else that wants to buy a guitar and just do a setup and work on some frets, this is not the guitar to buy. So first on the channel, I'm saying do not buy this instrument. But We're going to fix it and make it playable. Anyway, I'm going to end the video right there. We like buying guitars and reviewing them. And in this case, it's just not worth going upstairs and plugging the thing in. There's just too many issues. I'm not going to sit here and play a guitar that is incorrect and finish the review. That's why I'm stopping it right here. That's my final thoughts on this guitar. It's not a guitar to buy if you want to buy something and get it out of the box and play it. Anyway, if you like content like this, please hit the like button and please consider subscribing. When I see that subscriber count going up, it lets me know that I'm doing the videos that you guys want to see. You know, the technical videos on guitar reviews, the technical videos on, guitar repairs, fretwork, tremolo work. It makes me feel good when I see you guys joining in the conversation and giving pointers and helping out. That's what we're trying to build here. We're trying to build a little community of people that like guitars. If we didn't like guitars, we wouldn't buy so many. That's the whole point. Have fun. Anyway, leave some comments, hit the like button, and thank you for watching.